Hello, everyone. Welcome to PopCon Spotlight, and we are breaking it in with Krsy Fox. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me. It's great to see you guys.
You as well. How are you?
I've been good. Been good. Getting a little cabin fever, but I think everybody is.
Exactly. I know you guys have been on a little more stricter guidelines as far as what you can and can't do. So are you being a little bit more creative and using that time maybe to just go wild with writing? And
I was lucky because I decided kind of at the beginning of this I had written this anthology feature, and I was like, I'm going to figure out just how to shoot this, because it's 5 different stories. So I'm like, it's 5 different shoots. Let me just see like how far I can get. Mm-hmm. And I ended up finishing the whole film October of last year. And then I've just been doing post. So it's been actually great because it's kept me really busy. Yeah. And so I've been grateful for that. And, I feel like it's kept me pretty sane. Otherwise I probably would have lost my mind.
I think we're all there at this point. So it's funny. We just came off a huge snowstorm. What are you guys out like there, like 70 degree, 80 degree weather?
Yeah, I was in a tank top today. It was 70s. I feel bad saying that because it's been crazy everywhere. I don't know what's going on. I think it's like full end of the world stuff.
Yeah, we got like between 9 and 13 inches here in Indy.
Yeah, even like the Texas stuff, I was shocked by that. I was just like, you got to be kidding me. I was like, Texas getting hit like that? That's unheard of. Yeah. And
we're almost in March. It's insane. But hopefully it gets better for everybody, because it actually sounds like some places it's really scary.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, especially areas like we're good with driving. We're used to this. But wow, the South, it shuts down. Like, they're like, oh, we got a little bit of snow. It's just like, nope, school's closed. Everybody shut down.
That's like if it rains in LA, it's the end of the world. Everyone's like crashing into each other.
That's hilarious. So we are so excited to have you here with us. Give a quick introduction to everyone watching of who Krsy Fox is, because we've got a lot to chat with you about, because we know they don't know. So
okay, well, I started out as an actress, so I've been doing that since I was a kid. And then I've always written and screenplays, music and stuff like that. And then I got lucky and I had a few songs that did really well. I wrote for other bands on radio, and I kind of pivoted and focused on music for a while. And then I felt like I needed an outlet for myself. So I started a band called Krsy Fox, and we've toured a bunch. And then I really started missing the acting and, just making films and all that. So I decided to just kind of turn back and I was like, I can do both things. So I decided to start making my own films, and it kind of grew from me directing music videos for my band. And since then I had a short that you guys have seen that came out last year, which was really exciting. It was my debut short. And then I've started a band called Quinn as well. That's an all-girl band. So I've been, doing the music thing at the same time. And then now I'm I'm completing my feature, Frank, which is a really, really fun experience. So yeah, I kind of dabble in a lot of different things. And
so would you say do you feel like you cycle through what you want to do based on kind of what's going on in your life, or kind of mood? Like, are you feeling like this year I'm going to act more or write more, and now it's like, well, I'm really missing the stage and I want to go back to music? Do you find it just kind of comes in waves?
Yeah, I feel, and I also felt like for a while I felt like, oh, I have to really focus on just one thing at a time. And I realized you can do everything at once, because, you know, you'll make a film for a couple months or a month, and then there'll be some downtime. And so there's a way to do everything. But yeah, certainly, like, when I got back into doing more film stuff, it was kind of a hole. And so I was missing something. So I just started to navigate, and I was like, well, what's the best way, especially when COVID hit, to be able to be creative and act and make something. And it's like, just do it yourself, you know? So, yeah. So that was what I did. And it's been really a cool experience, because we made this feature and I have all these great actors in it because everyone was home and available. So it was just like, we all were like this team that did this really great thing. And it's like, we already are going through distribution and it should be out this year.
Oh, wow.
And it's already like exceeded what I expected to happen. You know, I just was like, let's just do this and just make something cool and then just see what happens. So,
yeah,
like I said,
Adam Bush is also going to be in it, you know, so you're going to be doing that again, you know, working with him again.
Yeah.
And whenever I looked at Frank, I didn't see anything as far as like information on it. What can you talk a little bit about what Frank is?
Yeah. Well, so it's basically a 5-part anthology that follows this girl, Ruby, who kills herself, and you kind of don't know why. And each story follows a different person, but it kind of unravels, and every story is intertwined. All the people are intertwined, and it's all the things that happen to them. And it is a monster movie. So this monster pays
nice.
To these people, but it's all because of her. And it kind of, at the end, there's a big finale that you're like, oh my God, now I understand what happened here. And so you have to really pay attention to the film, and each story gives you a little piece and a little piece until you finally get the big ending where it explains everything. But
so there's a little mystery there.
Yeah, and it's fun. It's gory, and every story, it's really cool, stars a female. So it was a really cool thing to do that, and just to make it like a female-centered movie, but it's still, there's a lot there for men, obviously, and there's, you know, everyone loves a good monster movie, but
absolutely. Absolutely.
Gory creature features are the best.
Totally. I always wanted to make a monster movie, and so it was cool to just design this creature and then talk to my makeup artist and be like, can we do this? How can we do this? And how, you know, and we literally from like a little sketch made this thing come to life, which was really cool and unique. And yeah, I got to work with some great people like Adam, and I got to, Bonnie Aarons is in the film, the woman who plays the nun. Yeah, I worked with Azure Parsons again, who did my short What the Spell with me shoot. And so, yeah, it was a big group effort of friends, and it was just a really fun thing to do.
That's awesome. And I think that's the consensus that we're hearing a bit from filmmakers is, in so many ways, 2020 was detrimental to everyone, but the thing that's rising out of those ashes, as far as like with music and with film, is people are having these amazing experiences. They're having, like you said, the access sometimes to people that they may not have had. And it wasn't such a, a power play of having to figure all the right components out. It's just like, it just kind of worked. So I think we're hearing like, that there's so many good things that happened out of that with creativity and doing projects and getting it figured out. I think we're excited on this end as fans also, is some of the things that are coming out of the pandemic. And we kind of jokingly say amongst ourselves all the time that indie film is really going to hit another surge, kind of like in the 90s when everything was coming through indie, and then it was, turning into these big projects. It's just different now, I think, because we're also starved for content and non-Hollywood content. Let me say that. Not that there's anything wrong with Hollywood content, but it's the indie filmmaker is always kind of the underdog, and all these things need to fall into place for their project to get going or for it to really reach that audience. So it's really exciting at what people are coming up with now.
It really is. And it's crazy. I really realized like how, especially in the genre space, like horror, which I know we all love here, like it's people like, there's, like you said, there's no content and they're just excited. Like, I feel like that Frank got grabbed up very fast because it was just like, oh, we need this. Like people are wanting this.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's exciting. It's like if there's a way you can make something on your own, it's, you know, there's a space for it now more than there ever has been. And yeah.
There's a hunger and a drive that just didn't. I saw that it had faded away, and to see it now coming back is just awesome to see.
I agree. Yeah. And I feel like especially with horror and certain genres, like you can really compete with the larger Hollywood films because there's no theater right now. There's nothing like, so like you could, you know, there's great places for it, like Shudder and like, you know, I've even like HBO as their streaming platform and Showtime, all these different platforms now are really like embracing horror more than ever. Netflix is doing that, and it's really cool, more than I've ever seen.
And it always feels like horror, kind of like horror to films to me is like what metal is to music. It's like they're always the ones that people like, the core fans friggin' love it, and we are diehard and we go for it. But they're always kind of the you know, stepchildren, or, you know, you're okay, but you're not really that good. And it's so frustrating because being on this side of the table, we see so many amazing films that come out, and it's just like, if that could have fell into the right person's hands, if this could, you know, we want people to see it. We want it to get out there. So it's so cringe worthy when that push isn't there. It's just like, now I feel like they're realizing that indie films and there's this whole niche out there that they really need to support and lift up. Same as with metal. You all the pop music, all certain kinds of music, you always hear people know it. But if you start singing a metal song in the middle of a store, there might be 10 or 15 people eventually that will join in. But if you sing something poppy, it's like commercials. People are going up and down the aisles doing routines and dances, and like everyone knows it.
Yeah. No, for sure. But like you said, it's the special fan base of horror. And certainly my experience from doing film festivals last year, and just like realizing an even larger part of the community that, and just people like, they stick with you, and it's like you're a family with all these people, and like you root for other filmmakers, and it's just like a really special thing. And I also feel like horror, there's a place for it worldwide, where there's certain types of films that don't translate everywhere. You know what I mean? And I feel like it's a special thing, like you said, like metal, where that's never going away, and it does well everywhere. And there's always like the diehard people that those are the fans you want. You don't want the people who are like, oh, cool, I like this song, and I'll never think about you again later, you know?
Right, exactly.
Exactly. Yeah, whenever you end up singing something in a store, and then you get that one person, you're like, yeah,
yeah, totally.
I'll catch you in a pit at another time somewhere. We'll remember this moment.
100%.
So I want to circle back to your careers with music and with film. I know you've been a child actor and you started early on. Is there one you favor more than let me phrase it this way. If you had to pick one that you had to do for free, but you love it, and one that you would get paid for and could survive, which one? Music? Where's music lie in that, and where does film lie in that statement?
You know that's a hard question, because I feel like I love them both equally for different reasons, but also the same reasons. But I feel like you can do music for free anyway. But I've also learned throughout this that with film, you can do a lot on your own. Like, it's like the whole Good Will Hunting thing. It's like it's a real thing. I remember the episode of Friends. I love Friends, by the way, where like Ross was pushing Joey to write his own script so he has something to act in. And it's like, you can do that. That exists. But I would probably lean film and acting. But I will always do music. And I feel like I would do it no matter what. But I definitely think that. So you're saying, what one would I want to get paid for as a career, and what one would I?
Yeah, like if you can only get paid for one, which one, and then which one would you do free? Like if you had to do it free.
I mean, I would probably pick film to get paid for, because A, there's more money ultimately if you succeed in film. And music, a lot of times you are doing stuff for free or very little versus, you know, I think that the industry has changed a lot in music. But yeah, that's probably the way I would go. But I love them equally. But right now I'm feeling a even stronger passion towards the film side, just because I don't know, probably because of the times we're in right now, and just being able to make this film that I've done and work with all my friends, and it's kind of saved my sanity. So yeah, it's a tough question.
I know. And I was thinking about it when I was going to ask it. And I'm like, that's really hard. And it's like, I don't want to, be disrespectful, but I'm thinking, of all the things. Yeah. And I think like for me, that would be writing, because I can write anytime. I can always write, whether it's journaling or whether it's, if it is a script or if it's a short story, you can always do that. So I'm like, yeah, well, see, I do it anyway. So that would probably be something. It's like, I guess I wouldn't mind if I got paid, because I love it so much,
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to do it anyway and someone's going to pay you, great, but I think that right now, I think that the film industry is thriving more than some sides of the music industry, just because it's in a weird transition and no one can tour, and it's just kind of, it's sad. I have a lot of musician friends who are, struggling, and it's just like they live on the road and they're like, well, now what do I do?
I mean, that's one of the things we miss. We've had some venues open up here, and we have a lot of outdoor things. And I think it's because of our size. I mean, I know if we were in New York or in LA, that our situation might be different, but there were actual shows towards the end of the year here and there sprinkled out. But I think that's such a big part of our life all the time anyway, is music. We are concert going people. What did you see in 2019? Slayer, how many times? 3?
That's 4 times. No, I saw Slayer 4.
Sorry, excuse me, 4.
Yeah. So you got it in before everything went down. Is it the International that's in Indianapolis? Is that the venue? I played a couple venues there that I'm trying to think of what the.
I think we have the Hi-Fi, the International. I know that sounds familiar, but I don't know that we have a lot of like little
Egyptian room. What is that called?
The Marat Egyptian room. There's we have a lot of smaller venues here too that put on some great shows. I mean, the Vogue. We have the Vogue that always brings a lot of national tours in. Gosh, and I love those smaller places too, because the people that are booking them are the people that really love music. They're not the big, they don't have the big sponsorships. You might hear this on the radio once or twice, but the people that book these shows generally love music and have gotten some amazing bands that have come through here. I feel like we're really lucky because we're in the Midwest, so we're not far from Chicago. We're Cincy, Louisville. We're kind of like tucked in there, and Michigan.
Yeah, great, and it's easy to tour in that whole area. It's just super. Yeah, I agree. I feel like most musicians I know, and myself included, I equally love playing small clubs to something bigger, because I feel like it's like an intimacy with the fans. But like you said, also the promoters are just music fans. They're hardcore music fans. And I feel like there's something amazing about playing a small room and being able to see everyone like in the room with you. And it's like, you're all in something together. You're having this moment.
Those are my favorites. Those are literally, those are just my favorite places to be. It's so, I don't know, it's just a whole different vibe and a different feel than being, great, play an arena, the big open space. I love that too. But there is something that's always special about those smaller shows. I feel like, I don't want to say people give better performances there, but I kind of feel like they do, because it's just like that energy and you're connecting, and, everybody is up front because they're all right there. So those are really, really, those are my favorites. So I hope that we get back to, more of that in the coming months. So
me too. I would love to come back through. I'm definitely missing playing live a lot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a question, and my question, it's like a 15-parter, but I don't want to say I don't like remakes. Normally, I do not like remakes. I can give you a handful that have really moved me, and I'm like, those are really good remakes. So I guess we'll say it could be a remake, reimagining, or continuation. If you could take on any film entity, any property, what would you do with it? Yeah, any film property. So it could be something, you know, like that's a franchise or anything. Because again, it could be a remake, reimagining, or a continuation of.
Similar to Halloween 2018, whenever they kind of, you know,
you just had to say that, didn't you? No.
I'm just saying, you know, because I mean, look how many iterations it's gone through.
It has.
So it's just like, I get where they were going with that. So they were like, all right, so this didn't work, this didn't work, this didn't work, so we're going to go this route.
Yeah.
So what franchise would you consider, like, want to take on, and how would you do it?
Well, you know, I guess it's not really necessarily a franchise yet, but there has been two. I mean, I think anyone who knows me knows, like, the first thing I would think of that I would want to take of an existing film is The Craft.
Nice.
That film, like, shaped a lot of me growing up, and just, oh, that was weird. I hear someone like talking.
Oh, really? Oh, I wonder if it's, I hope it's not anything on our side. I could just imagine.
I think it's the Instagram notifications.
Yeah, I didn't think to turn those off. It's yeah, that.
No, you're fine. I was just like,
ignore that.
But yeah, I feel like The Craft, when I saw it, I was young to have seen it, but I always felt like the kind of like weird off girl, even though I didn't necessarily appear that way. I felt like the things I liked and resonated to weren't necessarily the same things that other girls my age were. And when I saw that film, I was like, oh, these are my people. Like, like those are the girls I would want to hang out with when I get to be that age. And yeah, so I feel like I would love to do something with that. I would love to have the same cast, but obviously now at their current age, and maybe develop it and make something darker. The thing about The Craft that I always really liked is that I felt like it was a film about teens, but it wasn't a teen movie. It was scary. It still holds up, and it was something an adult could watch and be like, this is freaky. And I did see the more recent one they made, and I felt like it was geared more for teens, which is cool. You know, that's one way to definitely go with it. But I would almost take it and make a version that was as dark or darker than the original, and make it legitimately really scary, because there's so many things in that first one that I used to have nightmares about Nancy, and just like,
oh wow,
after me, and she was so scary. And yeah, I think that having that cast, but then maybe bringing in another storyline along with them,
kind of connected and maybe updated a little bit. And honestly, I kind of wish they'd gone that route. Now, I have not watched the remake. I can't bring myself to do it yet. I don't know. I think it's one of those things, like, it'll come around eventually. But I did get very much that, like you said, from the previews, that it just seemed like it was focused on the whole teen experience, versus when you saw The Craft, you knew they were teens, but like you said, if you pulled the school or the age out, it still would have been at the very core the same movie.
Exactly. Yeah, it just gave you a few different elements of, but yeah, they could have very well been adults, and I felt like they went pretty far for a film that has teens in it, which they did a lot back then with films. Like, you know, there was a lot of like rape, like, instances, and scare, like, the guys were really, like, you know, that was a scary dynamic. And then you just, like, the bully girl, the things they did to her, like, yeah, I felt like it was just a deeper movie, and a really dark movie. And I feel like now if you did something with that and you use the same cast and you just went way further and way darker, it could be just incredible. You know, maybe one day they'll call me, hopefully, and I'll get a chance.
It's like hashtag Krsy does The Craft.
Absolutely. It's something that everybody can relate to, you know, with that movie, you know, in some aspect of that movie, you know, no matter who you are, it's just like it can resonate with you. And I think that gave it that wide audience that, and the reason why I think it's become an iconic movie today.
Absolutely.
But what, as far as with that, What would be your soundtrack on that?
You know, I've thought about this a lot, but I feel I would want to make it. Like, I don't know if I would use an existing song. Like, I feel like I would want to make music for that. My band, Krsy Fox, I've written multiple songs because of the craft. I wrote this song called Witch that actually was at the end of What the Spell. And I mentioned, I mentioned Nancy in it, and in the lyrics and stuff. And then I also wrote a song called Coming For You, where I actually like use the light as a feather, stiff as a board that they do. And I've been very inspired by it. So I feel like, I mean, I could use one of those songs, but I also probably would maybe make my own soundtrack and do something.
I think that sounds awesome. Because you've got the chops, you've got the talent, you literally could do it. Not everyone's in that position. And I think that's what makes you like, so diverse, and one of those people watch her rise, because you when you're directing and you're writing, you've been an actress, so you know the things that you kind of want, and where the direction you want to go. You're producing, you're directing, and you write songs and sing, so you are very much a performer. So I think that would be totally doable and pretty gnarly if you were to do your own music to your version.
Well, it could be cool too, like, to partner with somebody and do like work with somebody else that does, like I remember there's a Pussifer song in the scene in Underworld I was in. And I remember when we shot that, the director Len told me, he's like, just so you know, that scene is going to be in the trailer. And he's like, and he was listening to the song while he was filming it. Like I could tell like the music, he was very close to it when he was, nice. And he like, let me hear the song. And I remember like really connecting to that. So, maybe partnering with a band like that, or, I know Trent Reznor does some really cool stuff that I really like. There's a lot of people you could pull from, or you could, do several songs with different people. I mean, this is like a perfect world to pick up the phone and call whoever you wanted, but
soundtracks were people doing songs with with others, featuring. I mean, so the possibilities are endless. So you could actually do your own song and feature them on it.
Totally. I mean, if it was a perfect world, and I like collaborating anyway. I like co-writing with people. That's always really exciting to me, because I feel like people always bring something different than you would, and they think a little different than you, but it kind of often makes something a little more magical, because if everything's just all about you all the time, it's, I feel like you need that other influence. And I think that could be a really cool experience. But I do think about music as I film stuff in general. Like I remember like when I did What the Spell, I knew I was going to use that song from the beginning. I was like, this song is coming in at the end. And I wanted that 90s, early 2000s feel, like at the credits when like a rock song kicks in, and then, it's just like the way they do the credits back then. I really love the feel of that. So I wanted the film to have that element.
And you did it, and you got it. That was, that we're people that actually listen and watch credits and like, oh, what was that? It's like, okay, hold on, pause it at the end. Wait, let's check out who that is, because there's times where I've discovered, new favorite music because it was in a soundtrack, it was on, but it could be like the most obscure movie. There's times I'm like, oh, that movie blew, but oh man, that music was amazing, so.
100%. I remember the first time I heard Group Love, I think they had a song on Gossip Girl, and I was watching the episode randomly, but the song came on and I was like, what is that? I just like immediately had to find the song, and it was called Slow. And I just remember really liking the song and the vocals on it. And I do that all the time. I'll like pause stuff and be like, what is that song? I have to find that song.
See, it's not just me.
Yeah, because that was how it was like when we watched Underworld, and I heard Pussifer, and I was just kind of like, that sounds like Maynard. And I was just like, but this isn't Tool, and it's not a perfect circle. I'm like, what is this? I was just like, because I haven't heard this yet. And so immediately it's just like, I'm like laser hawk focused on when the songs come up. And I'm like, what? I'm like, all right, I'm checking them out. So, because I hadn't heard them before then, and I didn't know that he was, in that project also. So that was cool.
Yeah, I think that film in particular, there was a bunch of music I thought was really cool. I remember being excited because my scenes ended up in the Atreyu video from that film, the song as well. And I was like, oh, I'm in an Atreyu video. That's cool. Like, you know, I'm not much of a music fan as a film fan. So absolutely.
So, I'm glad you said that, because that made me think of a question. I didn't have it written down, but I had thought of it yesterday. So now it popped up. What do you feel like people more recognize you from? Do you feel like it's your film, or do you feel like it's your music, or a combination of both?
I think it's a combination of both. I think that often, at first, like say if someone sees my band, sometimes they at first won't realize that I was in a film, and sometimes they'll watch the film and they'll probably be like, that's, you know, or they discover it. But I feel like you can slowly start. I've slowly started getting some people who follow what I do because of both. So I think it definitely contributes. Because, you know, maybe something I do in a film, you know, people are like, oh, they don't even realize it's me. Like Underworld, I'm a vampire. I look different, you know, but then, you know, maybe they see me live and something I do live resonates with them. And then they want to know what else I've done.
Like, oh, yeah, I remember this. And
yeah, exactly. So I think it's both. I think a lot of people have kind of started following because of, a mixture. I think you put yourself out there a lot if you're, you know, doing music and acting and
absolutely.
Yeah. Are there any kind of bands, as far as you know, concerning music, that you feel that hadn't got their fair shake? Maybe somebody that's underrated, or even just songs, if it's not just a band.
I think there's a lot. I mean, as a musician, I always hate that term because I feel like it's almost just like, oh, you're less than. But I think that there are a lot of people that I look at, I'm like, how are they not gigantic? I've also
exactly.
And I, you know, I mean, I just did an interview not long ago, and the interviewer said something to me. He's like, you know, I think your band was about my band was before my time, because now we're starting to see bands like and artists like Poppy and stuff come out that are doing, you know, what I've been doing for a long time. But to me, that's really cool. I think she's so cool. And I think that I've always been someone who discovers stuff earlier, and then often it blows up. Like I remember Lana Del Rey, I was a fan of her way before anyone really knew who they were, and I was turning all my friends onto her. And with like Halsey, I like a lot of, and I do like a lot of heavy music as well. I really like K-Flay. She does really well, but I think that the type of lyrics and the type of artist she is and the things she says, I feel like more people even need to listen to her, because I think she has a really cool take. I really like this band called Pale Waves. I think they're from England, and they kind of do like this really cool 80s thing, and they look like a high school band almost, but the girls look super goth, and the rest, they have a cool vibe and really cool songs. And I really like this girl who I think she's really starting to blow up, called Ashniko, that she's kind of like a rapper, but she does a cool song with Grimes. And I mean, I tend to intentionally not necessarily always listen to the type of music I make, because I feel like you can, you know, subconsciously start replicating things. And I try to listen to everything. I listen to country. I listen to more old country than anything. Like I love like Loretta Lynn. And
That's what I grew up on, the old country too, with my great granny, because she was a country music lover. I am not partial to, I think probably if there's like a country song in like the last 15 years, it just has to be something special for me, because I don't like poppy country. That's not what, I mean, it'll be catchy. And if I hear it enough, I might kind of end up subconsciously humming it, but I can't say I really like it. I feel like the writing was just so much, I don't know, it was just different. And so I love that old classic country, almost, you know, the bluegrassy country, the kind of, I'll always call it the depression country. Yeah. You know, and not so much depression, like as in the emotion, but the errors, because it kind of garnered a whole, it was like all that music kind of mixed into one, but I categorize it for me personally as country. so when we talked about that, what about genres? I feel like there's genres that just, they don't fit into anything necessarily, or people was like, oh, I really don't understand that because it's not rap, or it's not, you know, pop, or it's not this. I just feel like there's so many like genres that people, I don't say don't know about, but it doesn't fit certain categories. So they're just not as aware maybe.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of that out there that it's actually a great time to be in music, because as hard as some stuff is, like, I feel like you can discover so much all the time. Like, I discover something new every day that I'm like, maybe I don't like everything they do, but I'm like, oh, that song is so cool. And, you know, I tend to, when it comes to especially heavier music or rock, or I really like bands that have like a culture around them too. I find that that's more, you know, they wear a wardrobe on stage. They have a stage. It's not just, I really resonate more with that, and it's more about an experience, and you know, the videos are special, and but yeah, I feel like there's a ton of now subgenres that, like you said, you wouldn't probably, and actually a lot of big stuff is not played on the radio anymore.
Yeah,
there's no place for it.
Yeah, you have to go on a hunt. I think just like with films, you have to hunt for the music. I am a creature of habit. I feel like with the certain types of things that I like. And I remember thinking when I saw this band, well, we initially had heard them on, no, I don't know if I heard them on the radio or if it was a soundtrack song. I feel like it was maybe Valentine, because I know they had the song Breed in there, but the band is called Snake River Conspiracy, SRC. And one half of the band was a member of the original Third Eye Blind, but when Third Eye Blind kind of went a separate way, because this guy was just more definitely vocal and music heavy, but, you know, stronger, you know, lyrics, and not as kind of that wave of alternative that came out. And I was losing my mind. So I'm like, why doesn't anyone know this band? I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, they are, and it's one of those, it stays in my car. If we go on a road trip, it's got to go with us. And it's one of those that are just good from front to back. There's no bad song on it. There's a couple of good covers on it. They remade How Soon Is Now by the Smiths, and a version of Love Song by The Cure. And it's one of my favorite versions of it. And I don't know, just had a couple of kick-ass videos, and, you know, some explicit lyrics, but just really good music. And I'm like, no one knows them. But when they did come through here and toured, and we saw them at the Emerson, which is a super small theater that is known for punk and metal and stuff like that. You know, the crowd being there, it's like, okay, people know about, you know, we were excited about the crowd that was there. Yeah. But it's just one of those things. And it came in that really weird time. I believe, I felt like they were ahead of their time with the type of music they were doing, and the super badass chick with the female vocals, but is, you know, just that presence. And it was in the whole, like when Mariah Carey was really big, because it was like in the late 90s, and it was just like all these things were going on in music, and it just kind of like slipped through. I feel like it just kind of like slipped through the cracks, and just didn't find its place, because there wasn't a place for it at the time. So
yeah. Well, but then don't you feel special that you're like, it's almost like you're in an elite club of people who know about this? It's kind of like the metal thing. Like you said, you see the one guy and you're like, yeah, it's kind of cool to discover things. I mean, it sucks sometimes because you know, bands maybe don't have the career that they should. They end sooner because, you know, they're not making a living, but it is cool. Like I remember I think it was like the early 2000s, there's this band called Injected that I discovered. I think they only had one record, and they were really cool and really great. And but yeah, they were super short-lived. No one really knows who they were. And I remember I met one person, and he was wearing an Injected t-shirt, and I was like, oh my God, I listened to that band. You know, and there's a lot of that it is kind of a bummer, but it's also kind of cool that you're like, Yeah, and it's exciting, like when you listen to something early and then it starts, like I really like the band Cigarettes After Sex. I was like, oh, this is so vibey and cool. And then now they're huge, you know, and you're like, oh, see?
And I don't know that band. Like, we're trying to take notes as you're throwing out these bands. I'm like, oh my gosh,
I ended up writing
I don't know some
down.
of these people.
Well, some of it, like I said, isn't as heavy, but I feel like I personally like to pull from inspirations from different, you know, types of bands, and you know, a lot of my stuff is much heavier, but I don't know, there's so many different things, magic, like feelings you can pull, or lyrics, or you're like, oh, that resonates with me so much, or so yeah, I think that's a cool thing, and it's cool that you have bands like that. I feel like everybody has a couple that, you know.
Yeah, Vast is another one. That's awesome. I don't know, and that was a band, actually. I can't say it's a band; it's one person now, but it feels like a band because he plays like all the instruments and writes it. I mean, it's just it's great, and he's had some modest success, but it's still one of those groups that it was in that early 2000s area where it was just like the rap metal was really like oversaturating in certain types of pop, and it didn't find its place. It found a place, but I feel like it took a couple of albums to get there, but just an amazing I don't know what to say. I love that. I love him so much.
Oh yeah, that first album, he just came out swinging. Yeah,
it was really good. There is a question. Hey, Alex. Alex wants to know, what was the first concert for everyone? Mm-hmm. Oh gosh. I actually know mine. I know you know yours.
So what's yours, Krsy?
Well, I'm not certain that this is the absolute first, but the first one I really remember, I think I was like 11 or 12, maybe I was 12. I went and saw Puff Daddy and Family.
Oh, nice.
Really wow. It was like Lil' Kim. It was Usher opened. And then it was
wow.
And then it was Mace played.
Okay.
Ludacris, I think, was on it. It was like a whole bunch of but at the time it was a big deal, like my age.
Oh, I didn't go to one of those, but I can imagine that was a good way to break your.
You had your do-rag on and just.
I
got like so excited and
trying to very beyond excited.
You're like, I'm listening to the music.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably very inappropriate for my age now that I think about it. And like Lil' Kim was crazy. I remember she was just like basically naked, and I was just like, yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah, I can't remember the other people that were there. I mean, like I know it was what they called a showcase show here. So and that's what they called them. They didn't call them concerts like at that time for, I guess, the way we did them for that area. It was a showcase. So it was at the Murat, and it was a bigger place. And it was like 4 rap. It was like LL Cool J. And I honestly, right now, because I'm having a brain lapse, but it was like 4 or 5 like smaller rap groups, and it just ended up, it was so good. And then it was chaos, and then my mom's like, what are you doing? Why are you home? I'm like, Mom, if you knew it went down there last night. And it was just like, that was my first time. I think I was like 15, 16, and then got backstage, and then I was just like, I'm not sure I was ready for this, so I'm just gonna go ahead and go, because if my mom finds out about this,
yeah.
She's not going to let me go to another concert ever. So I really tried to hide that really well. What about you, George? What was your first one?
Mine was a legend, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
Oh, that's right. I know that.
See, that's too cool. That's nice. Come on.
Yeah. Oh, it was. If I'm gonna have a first concert, I'm glad that it was Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Yeah. It's like nice. Then my second one was a little bit more me, and that was White Zombie opened up for Pantera.
That's cool.
I was just like, what? And especially at that time, I was just like, yeah.
What year was it?
I want to say that was 96, I think. Yeah,
cool.
96. Man, that was brutal. That was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
I love hearing about like the early white zombie stories, and it's crazy. Just
We saw them 2 times in a week and a half. It was really quick.
No, that was when Rob hit his first solo.
Oh, that's right. That was yeah. And
with
Corn.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
that was fun. But so we saw them twice in the week. We saw them in Indy and then up in Fort Wayne, which is like an hour and a half away. And
we're making the drive. That last one was too good. We're just gonna go up and just see what tickets we can grab. We're doing it.
Yeah,
and
that was a lot of fun.
That goes back to the culture thing of like it's like a show and an experience, and it's like that's what he does. It's a really great show, and I got to see him with Korn like in the more recent tour, which was really fun.
Oh yeah, we did too. Yeah.
Yeah. Which one did you go to? The one in Indy?
Yeah, it was here in Indy. Yep.
That's awesome.
And then I feel like 2 years before that he came, but he was with, who did Rob Zombie come with? It was like the year before.
Manson.
Okay, so we did. Okay, so it was both. We do a lot of concerts.
Yeah, we do a lot. Hey, it's music, it's movies,
and MMA.
And MMA. That's our life.
MMA. I didn't expect you guys to say that, but
die-hard fans.
Yeah. Yeah, almost like from the inception of watching like the ones you had to get on VHS because it was like the tournament style thing. So it was before it was technically MMA. It was kickboxing and things like that, and Muay Thai, and you could see them and you could go to the video store and rent them. And oh my gosh, that was so long ago.
Yeah.
And then when it started coming on TV, it's like, this is the best thing in the world. Because you would have them here and there, like on a Saturday afternoon, you would have like something from sports, but it wasn't boxing. It's like, great, it's not boxing. And I could see it on there. And then when UFC started, and then it started being more not even mainstream, then it was just available more. And then they would do you could still go and rent the, pay-per-views, and, Pride was there, Strike Force. There were all these, entities of watching MMA. So it's just like, oh my gosh, there's so many things you can watch. I'm just so happy. Because I mean, watching boxing and stuff with my dad, and, I liked boxing, but MMA just brought a whole different dynamic to mixing, boxing and martial arts. And I was one of those kids that all the time, Sunday afternoons, USA Kung Fu Theater. Every, weekend, it was like, oh no, I got to stop what I'm doing. I need to watch this, because I loved like the old Kung Fu movies. And those were like my favorite things. I just watched one like 3 weeks ago, and I'm like, I'm searching through Netflix. Let's see if this is on here. I'm like, oh my gosh, they have like all these classics. I'm so excited.
So, Krsy, you got any particular sports that you dig, or no?
I mean, I'm Canadian, so I was always about hockey.
Hockey.
Yeah, I was really into hockey for a long time. In my house, there's a lot of basketball going on all the time. Sometimes I enjoy it. Sometimes I'm like, oh my God, turn off the game. But it's
that's when you go find me time. That's like, no, you're watching the game. Great. You want to watch the game, don't you? It's like, I'm going to go over here. And
totally. But yeah, I do enjoy. But yeah, I haven't watched hockey as much more recently, but it was such a big part of growing up. And for the first few years I lived in LA, it was like right before the Kings won, and then the Kings won the cup, and it was like very exciting. It was just part of it. And then all of a sudden everyone in LA started caring about hockey, which sucked because then you couldn't get tickets. They were really expensive.
Isn't it like that? See, those are those trends. It's like, I was into hockey before you guys were.
Yeah, right. Well, it's funny in Canada, I know so many hockey players because you like grow up with them, and like it's just everybody plays hockey. So it's just like it's a thing, but they all end up down here playing. So it's kind of nice.
Yeah, there was like two little mini kind of like seasons, because I used to ice skate a lot, and when I was much younger, I did like just some very small like little competitions and things like that. And then after I had my first kid, it was like my body is not working that way anymore, but I still wanted to be on the ice because I I don't think people realize that it's like the best workout.
It is.
That you can get. First of all, it's cold, so you're already cold. You're burning that energy. The fat is freezing. It is, you're cold. The body's working. But just the core strength and like for your midsection and your legs. Oh my gosh, that is. I mean, just lap a skating rink 5 times for anybody that works out hardcore. Just to put your body in that mode, I think they're going to be like, oh my gosh, this is totally different than, lifting weights and doing cardio. It's just like the best exercise.
Yeah, I was the same. I was a figure skater as a kid too. And the bruises and the injuries you get were like next level to other sports. It's like, you have no idea. Like I have scar on my chin from it. And I did the craziest, my skates were just like blood, the inside of my skate. It was disgusting. But like, I was like up every morning at 5 a.m. practicing, and I was into it for a while. And then, yeah, I think there's no way I could do it like that now. I would kill myself.
Yeah. I was thinking here the other day, I'm like, oh man, I really want to just go buy some new, because I haven't had skates in, it's been a long, long time. Now I have roller skates, but I don't have any ice skates anymore. And rentals just they just destroy your feet. I cannot do them. So I was just thinking, I'm going to go buy some ice skates, and that's what's going to be one of my new workouts, just go on ice skating. And then I was just like, yeah, so you can fall and like literally break your hip. And, then you'll have the story. How'd you break she broke her hip. It's like, that wasn't fitting. It's like, I couldn't break a knee or anything, or my arm. Yep, you broke a hip. But I do.
You fall a lot harder as you get older, that's for sure. I got, throughout quarantine, I got a Peloton because I was like, my joints are getting so destroyed. So I've been starting to do that. But yeah, I don't know how people, can get into like their 30s even and be figure skating still. It's like brutal.
Yeah, it's like you're one bad fall away from just the end. And that's the thing, when you hit ice, the energy doesn't travel. You hit and you're just down. You're just like, I'm gonna get up here in a second. There's not a fast get up. Unless you are competing and it's like couple skate and you toss her and she spins out and it's like, okay, let me go get her and help her up, or it just doesn't travel. You just hit the ground and you're done, and you try to play it off like it's not bad. But
I love that you understand this.
Whoa, yeah. But it also is still an adrenaline of being on the ice, because not everyone can ice skate. A lot of people can roller skate, but not everyone can ice skate.
Absolutely.
It's the reason why I've only done it like 2 or 3 times ever. It was fun. It just took me a while to get my groove and get my, to get it. But once I fell into it, I was just like, yeah, I'm doing awesome. And then I just wiped out. And then I got like my entire butt cheek is black and purple.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's nothing more sad than watching an adult try to skate. You just can't get it. And I've seen that a few times where it's like one thing if you're a little kid and you're just not good at it. But it's a whole other thing. It's like, you see like the dude trying to do it, and he can't even barely stand up, and you're like,
and the hands are doing the windmill as they're trying to keep their balance. And you feel bad for laughing inside, it's just, but yeah, it's oh my gosh, that kind of made me cry.
Because it's like a cartoon come to life.
It is. It's
totally.
You get that surprised baby face, and your eyes get really big.
Oh, so you can picture it all in your head right now. Oh, we got another question from Alex. Alex said, Eminem or MGK?
Like who won?
Eminem for sure.
Oh, who won, Eminem or MGK? I'm sorry.
I don't even know what that. Yeah.
I don't know MGK.
Machine Gun Kelly.
Oh, Machine Gun Kelly. Okay, I do know who that is. Oh, Eminem, dude. Alex, why did you ask that? No, I'm just joking. No, I'm not gonna say he like. Machine Gun Kelly is a terrible rapper or anything. I don't know. They're
kind of different. They're very different types of Eminem's very poetic. He's and Machine Gun Kelly's kind of doing more like the old school like Blink 182 thing a little more now than the rap side of it. But yeah, I've been a fan of Eminem since the beginning.
He's got lyrics, and he's got I don't know. I just remember that that whole, you know, when it's like, okay, there's this rapper and everyone of course is like, oh yeah, it's kind of roll your eyes and you've seen, and I'm not going to say like, oh gosh, oh man, I'm having a brain lapse. So Pete Nice and MC Search, and I'm trying to think the name of their rap group, but they had really good lyrics, and they had a couple of good albums, well respected. But I think Eminem just kind of leveled up that game of actual, you're getting a different side of the plight of the same area. It's just like no one, I think, especially white rappers came out and just kind of told their side of how it was growing up. Everything's not always, you know, silver spoons for everyone, you know, and I think it was just, you know, telling it from a rough side of town. You're just like, oh gosh, I don't want to go there. They're like, oh, you want to go to Eminem? No, I heard people rap about it. I don't want to go. It's like, totally. Okay, I'll live vicariously through his music, but no, it's just like, that sounds rough. It doesn't sound like some place I'd want to go. But he had really good lyrics. He's not one of my favorite rappers because I'm not into rap like that. Not old rap, like anything probably like past the mid 90s. I'm like, nah, it's okay. It's not rap. It's hip. I like hip hop, but I like kind of easygoing, kind of I can dance to it hip hop. But a lot of rap, and I'm just like rolling my eyes because I'm like, this is different. This isn't my kind of rap, and I really never got into the new groove of, you know. Now I do like Common. There are certain people I can say, oh yeah, I like them, but as a whole, I'm just like, I think I'm a metal girl. Thanks, Mom. This is your fault.
Well, the thing about rap I find is that they're lyrically a lot of them are just like geniuses. Like if you actually read lyrics, you're just like, oh my God, like it's so deep, and it's just, and they have to write like 30 times the amount of lyrics.
And that's what I respect about it. There's so many. I mean, you look at how much you're doing in that time. That's a lot of verbiage. That is a lot of information to put down. It's not like soft song lyrics and you get, you know, the number of space and bars per line, and it's just like rapid fire. And it is definitely an art form. I do miss a lot of the kind of stuff that I grew up on that was, I don't know, it was just different for me. And maybe that's with age comes different likes. Like I don't like the mumble rap and with the nice music behind it. And I'm like, what did they say? I can't get it. That's okay. I'm done. You know, it's just, but sometimes if you just shut the lyrics off and listen to the music, I could totally do that. Absolutely.
Well, rap is like probably very similar. Why you love metal, it's the emotion behind it. Eminem's really can, you know, embrace that. But I feel like, you listen to a metal song or a heavy rock song, and there's just so much emotion, and it can be anger, it could be anything, but it's just like you feel it. And I feel like a lot of rappers can really get that feeling across. And Eminem certainly is someone who does that really well. And you know,
yeah, definitely. Let's see. I think I asked my questions. I feel like I'm missing something. I'm trying to keep it all up here.
Yeah.
Sometimes that doesn't go so well. Are we ready for that?
Yeah, I'm good for doing that. Yeah.
Okay. We are going to go into, and we have to say this, full disclosure, one of our PopCon members, Rusty Magic Man Amerman, does something very similar to this when he's interviewing, and we're like, that's genius. We love it. So we wanted to try it and see how it works. And
but different questions.
Different questions, of course. But
we're not going to rip you off, Rusty.
No, we're not. We're not. You know, we don't want to have to pay you royalties, man. So we call this rapid fire, and this is to let everyone know Krsy Fox a little bit better, but also put her on the spot slightly. Okay. Rapid fire. Coffee, tea, or energy drinks?
Tea.
Least liked film genre?
Oh God, that's really hard. I have a hard time with some of the really older films that I can't connect to certain black and white films, but not all. So I hate to say that, but like there's certain, it's like least liked genre. I don't know. That's really hard.
We
I
won't
guess
put you
I
on the
would.
spot. Krsy doesn't have a least favorite genre.
I don't. Yeah, I don't think I. I
Yeah.
don't think I do. There's something I like about everything, and if for certain reasons. Yeah.
Well, that's good. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. Pepsi or Coke?
Coke.
Oh, this interview's over.
Yeah.
No.
So it was great seeing you.
Just
all right, yeah,
joking.
all right, werewolves or vampires?
Vampires. Definitely.
Now, as far as this is,
I'm gonna grab that one. Favorite me time activity.
Oh God. Just watching a show. I don't get to do that very much because I have a 1-year-old, and I just like to like binge a TV show that if I can just get left alone long enough to do that.
Nice. I totally understand that.
Now, if someone was to cook you a meal, anything that you wanted, what would it be?
Some kind of pasta dish. I'm a huge Italian food fan, and I love pasta. Like, yeah, I could eat it every day if I wouldn't be 500 pounds. Yeah.
It definitely is delicious, but for not working out the way I used to at all. Carbs didn't used to be an issue. They are an issue now. But awesome. I do the pasta. Oh, Alex has one for you. Star Wars or Lord of the Rings?
Well, okay. So you guys are going to be horrified. I've never seen Star Wars, any of them. I know.
No.
but I have seen all of the Lord of the Rings, so I guess I have to say Lord of the Rings. Although I've learned a lot about Star Wars from my fiance, who really likes it. But he says that it's only like the first 1 or 2 are okay. And that's
just so you can appease and actually be able to talk about it, I would suggest watching the first 3, which are really 4, 5, and 6.
Okay.
Yeah, and then from there, I would say you don't even have to give the others a shot. Just save yourself the. Yeah.
That's what I've been told. So I mean, I can't have an opinion, but I've been told that it's like there's a lot of strong opinions in my house about.
And if you like books or comics, read the books or comics. Now, I will advocate. Yeah. Oh, now, thank you, Alex, because that just, now I can't even ask that because she hasn't seen that. The Clone Wars and things like that, the animated shows that are Star Wars related are pretty.
Those are fun, yeah.
Pretty good, yeah.
Do you like The Mandalorian? Are you into that show? Yeah, it's good. Okay.
Oh, it's awesome. It's great.
I watched the first episode of it, but I'm like trying to like catch up and understand what's happening. So
just watch the movies first, though, and then get to that, because then it'll kind of spoil some stuff. It'll make you feel lost because you're like, what happened? So it'll help explain things a little bit more. Now, as far as all right, so I think this is like this last part of the rapid is, but this is a little bit more detailed. Okay. This is about moods. So if you're like, when you're in the mood and you watch a certain movie and music, so both, I'm kind of curious on which one. If you're in a good or goofy mood, what movie do you watch and what music do you listen to?
That's a good question. I always tend to, the type of films that make me the most happy, regardless of almost any mood other than, I guess, if I was in a really dark mood, is horror. Horror, I'm like, it makes me super happy. It's a really weird thing. Like I go to sleep the best at night if I have a horror movie on. It's like I feel so relaxed, or like, yeah. So I would probably go horror. I do love watching comedies too, but I don't know. I think that makes me the most happy. And music, just usually something with a lot of energy. Once again, bringing up the Peloton thing, it's great for music because you can pick the type of ride based on your mood. And a lot of times when I'm working out, I like high energy stuff. And I went through a phase where I was like reliving Limp Bizkit for a while when I was like jogging.
Awesome.
And it was like a whole experience. I don't know. I felt like I was like a little kid again, and I was like, this is awesome. Like, I don't know. But yeah, I like, usually just something that more metal, probably, something that makes me want to like work out and gets me all like hyped up usually.
Nice.
Now, whenever, same thing, but when you're angry, movie and music.
Well, a lot of times if I'm angry, I do go jogging. I listen to Slipknot.
Nice.
It makes me feel good. And film wise, I try, if I'm in a really dark mood, to get far away from the horror, because I'll I'll go there probably. So usually it'll be a comedy, or I'll watch, if I'm really angry or really upset, I binge watch Friends. Like Friends is like the thing that always is like therapy to me. It like brings me back. It's a weird thing, but my sister is the same. We both like, yeah. If we're having a bad, yeah.
Cool. Now, anytime whenever you're sad, you know, what's gonna?
Usually I'll lean into some sadder or more mellow music. I'll listen to like Lana Del Rey or Cigarettes After Sex or something like that. That's a little more like moody. K-Flay is good for that too. She has some, I like when females are willing to be a little self-deprecating and sounding like desperate and vulnerable, because I feel like a lot of female-centered music, you always have to be like, I'm strong, I'm confident, I don't care. And it's like, that's not really, sometimes you are, but sometimes you go through some shit. So yeah, probably that. And film wise, let me think. What usually I like to watch something that'll make me cry. I'll like watch something like Terms of Endearment or something like.
Oh, you hit deep ones. Like, I'm just going for the total feels.
Oh yeah, I'll get super depressed and cry and watch it. But you know, I feel like a lot of times too, if I need a boost, I go back to The Craft almost once a year. I do watch that a lot. I watch I rewatch the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre a lot. Like, there's certain films that I'm like, oh, if I need something, I'll like go to those films, and they always give me something that I need.
Nice.
And for a perfect cozy night in, what is that perfect soundtrack and movie to your night?
Probably, once again, Lana Del Rey, Sam Smith. We like to listen to those type of artists, and we drink wine. And then definitely it would be a horror movie again. Like, I just like, you know, I feel like if I'm having a cozy night in, I want to like discover a new horror, relive something that I haven't watched in a long time. We just actually watched like 2 nights ago the original 28 Days Later. And,
okay, nice.
And I haven't watched it in so long. There was like pieces of it. I was like, I've seen it so many times, but I was like, I don't remember this part. Like, I haven't seen it in probably 7 years or something. And I'm like, oh my God, it still holds up. It's really good.
Yeah, we rotate a lot of our horror. You know, there's still those classics, but we do rotate that horror. But it's funny when you said that, it made me, and I don't know why I ended up watching it one night. I don't know. I think it was on Amazon, and I watched Snatch, and I hadn't seen that in forever. And so I watch it, and then I'm like, hey, you want to watch this? I'm like, this was so much funnier than I remembered. And I'm like, oh yeah, why isn't this normally, you know, in our rotation more? And I just super got into it because, you know, Guy Ritchie, he can really write dialogue, and I love smart movies, and I love, you know, the things with dialogue. So it was just funny because when you said that, I haven't watched it in a long time. And you're right, we haven't watched, I can't think of the last time we watched 28 Days Later. I know we have it. I just don't think it hasn't
come
back
to it, because it's so cool. And I know it's one of the first like digital films they did that, you know, it wasn't shot on film, and it's crazy, like the way it looks, and it kind of has like a magic of that time.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It was cool. It's funny you were talking about Snatch and about dialogue, and we were just talking today about Swingers and how great that film was. Yes. And it was funny. It was talking about how like Jon Favreau said that it was just something he just was like, I'm just supposedly said, like, I'm just wanted to learn how to really use Final Cut or not Final Cut, whatchamacallit, you know, Final Draft, and get to write the script. And it was just such an iconic film and dialogue. I like the scene with him calling the girl. It's just, you know. So yeah, I think that and certainly, if you guys have a certain film you watch over and over again, if it's ever on, you'll always watch it, or you consistently.
We do. I don't know if we're froze on your end, but we're froze, but we can still hear you. So we'll just keep going.
Okay.
Okay, we're back.
Just unfroze.
I guess those were the magic words. A film that we watch all the time.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, there's so many. Oh my.
I think it really all depends on kind of like on how we were asking the questions, like what our mood is. Like if we're in a really just stupid slapstick and we're wanting like something fun, it's usually Step Brothers. Because,
oh God, always, or Bridesmaids. Those are like the two consistent.
And that's one we don't own. We don't own Bridesmaids with Step Brothers. I love Justin Long. I love Accepted. Okay, here's one of those movies that not a lot of people know about. The Sasquatch Gang. He's Joey Kern, Justin Long, Jeremy Sumpter. It is like one of the best, just kind of quirky, funny movies, and I love it. Wasn't
it done by the same guy that did Napoleon Dynamite?
I don't think so. He made a cameo in it, but I don't think it was the same person.
Okay.
But it's just so when I'm sick, I have like certain movies when I'm sick. And one of my favorite movies to watch when I am not feeling well is Connie and Carla. Do you know that movie?
I do. Yeah.
Connie and Carla. And it actually used to be, me and my daughter's favorite thing, like if we're just kind of chilling and no one else was up and it's, you want to watch Connie and Carla? Absolutely. It's just one of those movies, it comes up all the time. Anything horror. I mean, we'll pick series of movies to watch. Oh, I tell you who gets a lot of play all the time. Eddie Murphy. So Eddie Murphy has his own little section because we've got his stand-up, we've got 48 Hours, The Golden Child, Coming to America. Oh, Harlem Nights to me is his that is his opus. That movie is so friggin' funny. And I know it from front to back. I mean, seriously, we could put it on mute and I could do every scene, everyone's, dialogue. It's just one of the movies that. And it's so beautiful. And you know what? And the other part I love, it's a period piece. And so it reminds me of looking at photos of my family during that time of the 30s, and everyone was dressed impeccably. That's one of the things I love about, that period is it didn't matter what, how much money you had or what ethnicity you were, everyone dressed nice and looked spiffy. The women all look the same. If you lined them up, other than, size, shape, and race, they still would all be pretty much dressed the same because that was the fashion of that time. Everyone conducted themselves and looked good. And I do.
How opposite from now?
What was that?
Is it how opposite from now, especially quarantine?
Pajamas at the grocery store. And I'm like, why are they in pajamas? Unless you got a kid on your hip that is sick and you had to run out, to the all night pharmacy. It's just like, no, let's not do that.
Well, I'm a Guy Ritchie fan, and just like Guy Ritchie had said on like Joe Rogan's podcast, it's just like he always tries to end up dressing up, looking nice every single day, bringing that back. And I'm like, yep. Like,
well, your beard's hiding your tie. Yeah. It's there though.
It is.
Well, have you ever seen that meme? It's like I've posted it a few times where it's like you go out and you look like disgusting and you see every person you know, but if you go out and you like look amazing one day, you see nobody in it. It's just true. Every time I see people, I'm like, oh my God, why? Like right now. And
especially someone you went to high school with and you can't stand them or something. And you're just like, really? I came out like I'm going to the store. I haven't been out all week. I'm going to the store and wow, I run into Jenny.
I know. And then you do the thing where you don't want to talk to them. So you like pretend you don't see them, but then you look rude and it's like a whole thing. And just like, no.
Yeah. It's like, why is this happening now?
Yeah.
We do have another question. So it says, he's sorry he's late, but Guy Ritchie did a great job with the Aladdin remake, in his opinion. Have you seen that?
I saw like a moment of it. I had it on in the background one day, but I haven't actually sat and watched it. Have you guys seen it?
No, it hasn't been anything that we've been able to check out just yet. Says thanks for the Q&A. Good convo. Awesome topics. Okay, he's out.
Thanks, Alex.
Thank you very much for hanging out with us.
So, did you have one more part, or was that your last part of the?
That was actually it.
Okay, that was rapid fire. I think we better get a little bit better at rapid fire.
I think it was my fault. I think I was like
me because I talk a lot. He's the quieter one. I talk all the time. So if you can't tell, I'm the gabber. Yeah. So I don't think we understood the way rapid fire is supposed to work.
But we made it work.
It was fun though. It was fun. So sign us off with telling everyone what's up next with you. I know you mentioned Frank, but go ahead and talk about it again, and then let people know where they can find you.
Yeah, okay. Well, Frank, look out for it later this year. I don't have a release date yet, but I'm really excited, and keep your eye open for it. And I'll certainly be posting about it on my socials, and there'll be some promotion going once we make some announcements. But that, and then I think we may be doing another feature later this year, which is exciting. And our company One Fox is doing a bunch of different stuff, and so hopefully, we're hoping to even get a short in some of the festival cycles as well. So
nice.
We're doing that, and you can find me on KrsyFox.com, Instagram.com/KrsyFox, same with Facebook, or you can go to One Fox Productions. And Frank also has an Instagram, Frank and Anthology of Terror. So yeah, just watch out, and definitely,
I'll be popping over there to stalk you. So
yay! I'm so glad you guys reached out. I really enjoyed talking with you guys.
Oh, you as well.
Oh, yeah.
I had no idea about the feature, so I am super, super excited about that. And I love an anthology, and I just had Creep Show on night before last. Creep Show 2, by the way. That's what I was watching. So I love a good anthology. I love how you talked about how it's going to wrap together. So we're very excited to see that. Is there any place that people can watch What the Spell, or is it still on the convention circuit, or is it?
It's still on the circuit, but it will be available fairly soon, because we're kind of just wrapping it up. There's a few more festivals, and then I will be made available, and I'll make sure to post about it. We're talking about even expanding it further and maybe making it into a feature, which is exciting. And I'd love to expand on it, because it was such a fun project, and something that I personally would want to go see, which I guess is the whole point of making films. You should make something that you would really, like to go see. And I'll definitely keep posting about it, but it will be available probably later this year somewhere.
Awesome. Good deal. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to join us. And when we do drop links and things, is it okay if we drop some of the links to your music videos as well?
Sure. Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
Absolutely. Cool. We want them to know all the stuff you're doing. Cool. Thanks for joining us. I know it's still, at a decent time. You can have some of your evening left. It's 7 out there. So enjoy the rest of your evening, and we will keep in touch, and hopefully we can do this again.
I would love to. Yeah, anytime. Great to see you guys both.
You as well. Thank you so much.
Take care.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.